everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for another soap making video. Today I'm going to take you along as I do my August Soap Challenge Club soap, and the idea behind this challenge for the month, we had to do a soap that had layers in the bottom and a drop swirl on the top. So there was no sort of requirements of how many layers you did in the bottom, and there was no requirements of colors or anything like that. The only additional thing that I had to do, because I've made more than 50 bars of or 50 loaves of soap, I had to go into the advanced category where you have to then include another element or a third element into the soap. So for me, what I decided to do was in the second and third layers that I do of this soap, I do a in the pot swirl as well. It is very, very faint, but it kind of goes in with the whole coffee theme that I was going for with this soap. So come along with me and I will show you how I make my iced caramel latte soap. Let's go. I have got all fingers and toes crossed that the soaping gods are with me on this one today. Hopefully my fragrance oil plays really nicely. As soon as I got this fragrance oil in, I had an image of how I wanted the soap to look. And then I remembered that we had the Soap Challenge Club soap, so I thought I would try and get it to work for this one. The fragrance I am using today is called Coffee Ice Cream, and I got it in from off the fragrance shed. It says it is a sweet buttery cream lace, or I'll start that again. It says it's sweet buttery cream laced with smooth Brazilian coffee, hints of brown sugar and cocoa powder, and blending into the perfect ice cream sensation. I also get that sort of feeling that there's caramel through here as well. It's very mouth-watering. It does have a massive 6.1% vanillin, and it says it is well behaved but does obviously discolor. But that's okay because we're doing a coffee soap. We're going to stick to those brown tones, and any of the discoloring should actually hopefully enhance the colours that we've got here. I will be using a little bit of white, and I won't be putting any fragrance into the white. I am starting off by hand mixing because I do want to make sure I have got plenty of time to be working here. First of all, I'm going to split off the colours I am going to be using for my drop swirl. So we've got some titanium dioxide in that one, and as I said, I won't be adding any fragrance in there. In this one, I have a little bit of Bronze Sparks because I want to get that kind of caramel look into this. I also have in this jug a little bit of, what did we use? We used Opulence mica because I wanted that sort of real caramelly, sugary sort of look. May actually need just a little bit more for my drops on this one. I've decided with mine I'm not going to go for very heavy drops. There are going to be just very light drops across the top of the soap, and you'll see why as we get through into the actual design of this soap. What I'm now going to do is finish splitting this batter off between these three jugs. Now let me just check what we've got here. So this one in here is some mocha mica, which I have put in some cocoa powder. This one here is a bit of that mocha mica mixed with some latte. And in this end one here, I have some cocoa powder and some titanium dioxide. I want 3 different shades of brown. So let me get this split up. Alright, so I'm going to pop these two to one side for a moment, and I'm going to start with this one here. What I am also going to do is just pour off a little bit of this fragrance so I don't forget, and I'm going to save that for my little drop swirl ones. So then I'll end up splitting this one between these 3 pots, but I'm only going to do one at a time because I have no idea how this is actually going to behave. But I am also, whoa, that was close. But also what I'm going to do is I have got some coffee grinds here, and I'm going to add those into my buckets. But I don't think I'm going to use all of what I measured out. I think that will just get too scratchy if I do. Let's get this first colour mixed up. Alright, so of course for this one, because I want to do layers, this is going to stay really, really fluid. That is just absolutely typical. Let me get that bit of mess cleaned up, but I'm still going to go ahead and do my layers, knowing that this is going to thin it out. It doesn't matter if those other soap jugs sit for a little bit. I am going to pour most of this out of here. I am going to leave a little bit back, and you'll see why in just a bit. What I am going to do now is just pop that to one side while that sets up, and we will move on to this next one here. So again, I'm going to pour in some of that fragrance, give this a good mix. That is as far as I am actually going to mix it to, because knowing my luck, if I mix this anymore, that will still be fluid, and this will be set up, because that is just how soap likes to work. I'm sure it just sits there and goes, this will be fun. Watch this, guys. Anyway, let's get that nicely mixed. I saved back a little bit of that one, of that other color, because I have to go into the advanced category for this one, because I've made more than 50 bars or 50 loaves of soap. So you have to add another element into the layers and the drop. So I thought we might do a very subtle in the pot swirl, so that it looks like as we're coming up through the layers of the coffee that they are starting to swirl together. So let me get all of this one scraped out. Gonna have to wait for that bottom layer just to set up a little bit more so we can pour this next layer on top. So I have also decided I'm going to add another slight sort of element in here. It's not going to be the most textured of layers, but I am just going to have a little bit of a play in the top here so we don't have it completely straight layers. It's almost like sculpting those layers in here. So just giving it a little bit of a play. And then we'll grab that slightly lighter brown and we will pop that on top. So I'm not going to mix that one too much, because when I do my drops, I actually want the drops to kind of fall into here. Again, I'm just going to move that soap around. This is a bit thicker now because it has been sitting there. It's not going to be that much of a textured top on this one, but yeah, it'll still be quite pretty there. Just move my spoon around in the top here. It's not going to be as textured as that bottom layer, but I do need this to be fairly runny, so when we put our drops on the top they can kind of fall into this next layer. So I've got all that textured as much as I can get it while it's at that consistency. So I'm going to pour this next one on the top here, and I'm actually going to turn myself around this time. That one is nice and fluid. So let's get on to mixing the colours for my drop. What I am going to do with my white is actually just pour off some of this. I want some for the top of this soap for piping, and then I only want a little bit for my drop swirl, so don't want to go too overboard. Let's get that bit of soap cleaned up so our mold doesn't get filthy, and pull this back in, and we'll start doing our drop swirl on the top. And this should be really pretty because it should drop into that first layer of soap there, and I really want it to look like there is caramel that has been drizzled across the top of our coffee, maybe a little honey in there as well, and I just want that to look like it is drizzled across the top of our coffee and dripping down into those layers. We'll just add just a tiny bit of white, because what we're going to do on the top of our soap is put some cream, and I want that warmth of the coffee just to be melting that cream just that little bit and oozing on down. Is your mouth watering yet? We are about, once I do this, I'm about to head out over to one of my suppliers, and I am pretty sure I am going to stop off at my favourite coffee shop, which is Zaraffa's, and I am going to get myself a caramel mocha, or latte they call it, on soy milk. That is just what this this soap fragrance is doing to me. Let's get a bit more of this white in here. I'm not bothered if I don't use all of it, because I'm just going to pop it back into the jug. Oh, that is looking so good. Alright, let's do a little bit of coffee art on the top here. I don't know what I'm going to do. No, I was going to try and get those sort of V shapes, but let's just go for that good old infinity swirl. That is stunning. Oh wow, I am so happy with how this is turning out so far. Really, really hoping it is going to match in with the challenge criteria once we get that cut. I have been reading on the group that some people are just having real difficulties with it. It's just so typical. When you want to do layered soap, your soaps just play really, really nicely. I was really worried that by the time I got through into this sort of drop swirl bit that the soap was going to decide, nah, I'm not going to play nicely anymore because you want me to do a drop swirl. But thankfully, that has stayed nice the whole way through. That is absolutely gorgeous. So nice to have well-behaving fragrance oils. Let's get this white sorted out. I have put the rest of that white into my piping bag, because of course whenever you go and get yourself a lovely coffee from one of these coffee places, you always get that nice big dollop of cream. This is sinking slightly down into the top because it is still quite runny, which is absolutely wonderful. Oh, but that's going to really, really add to that sort of effect that the cream is melting on down into our coffee with that sort of white drip of cream going through there. Really, really sorry if I am getting any of you having a hankering for a coffee. What is your favorite coffee in your favorite coffee shop? As I said before, mine is actually Zaraffa's. It's an Australian coffee shop that we have here. They have the most amazing coffees. Well, I really like them. Full of lots of flavors, and there's so many different choices on what you can actually have. I recently discovered the caramelized mocha latte drink that they do. Before that, I used to just like having their caramel lattes, and then it was winter, I like a bit of hot chocolate, and I saw that one. I thought, oh, we'll give that one a try, and I'm so glad I did. It's a truly evil drink. All right, we have got our cream on there, and it's now time to put our little embeds on. I've had this vision in my head for ages about creating an embed that looked a little bit like this, and I have some plans for some more, and I thought that this would be the perfect soap to try out on. So as you can see, I started off, they were quite thick colors, and then I've actually worked out how to get those finer, thinner colors on here. And the idea behind these is I wanted it to look like one of those chocolate wafer sticks, and then I made some little coffee beans using some soap dough as well. I know we all have, probably all have that coffee embed mold. I really hate it. I have used it, but I really hate it because it makes my coffee beans look unreal. So I actually sat and I made up my little coffee beans. What I am going to do is take these gloves off. These are absolutely amazing. They are reusable. They have got the nitrile in them, I believe, but they are very much so in the way for doing this. What I am going to do first of all is grab my little chocolate wafer stick. We are going to put them onto the sides because when it comes time to actually packaging these, I want them to not get broken. So I think if we put them in the sides, that they in the soap and in the cream, we have a much better chance. But as I was saying with that coffee bean, I do have the mold. I just decided I did not want those flat coffee bean shapes. Plus these actually had to be cold process, and I've never, well, the mold is just a little bit too small to be doing cold process embeds in, so I decided that I would have a go making them with some soap dough. And if you follow along with me on Instagram, or even watch the stories that you can get through YouTube, because I have been trying to use more of that lately, you would have seen just a very quick snippet of me making those little coffee beans there. So I'm going to get all of these on, and I'm really pleased. They look a lot more natural in shape. These are looking awesome. I love these chocolate wafer. Well, I used to. I've not actually checked the ingredients lately to see if I can still actually eat them. But I used to love eating these. I used to love getting ice cream with these chocolate wafer sticks on. Don't know why. Just really like them. You used to feel real grown up when you used to get one in your ice cream as a kid. All right, let's get some of these coffee beans on as well. I am going to put one on the top of each of my creams. I have done enough so I can use 3 coffee beans per soap, but I think I may only actually need 1 per soap. We'll see. I definitely don't think we'll need all of them. I was going to put another one in the bottom there, but I think that might just be a little bit too much. Let's just finish putting them on to the sides here. Who loves actually eating coffee beans? My husband thinks I'm disgusting. No, I don't just eat coffee beans out of the coffee bean packet, although you probably actually could. I like chocolate coated coffee beans, and thankfully you can actually get dark chocolate coated coffee beans, because dark chocolate generally doesn't have the milk in. And it's one of those things, I've always got a couple in the house, if you're just having that real sort of down sort of moment, and it's the middle of summer and you just don't feel like drinking a cup of coffee, there's nothing quite like a chocolate covered coffee bean, because you get that hit of chocolate and that bit of coffee as well. But be warned, if you do try chocolate coffee beans, if you've never tried them before, don't eat any more than 1 or 2 of them. As a child, I sneakily ate more than what I was given, and it was a bit of a disaster. I went into a right mood. It took my parents a little while to work out what had actually happened, and yes, I'd been eating the coffee beans. Coffee generally doesn't affect me. It doesn't. If I drink a cup of coffee at night time, I generally fall asleep a lot quicker. It doesn't keep me awake like it keeps most people. But if I eat coffee beans, that is when it actually does affect me. I'm going to keep the rest of those for another soap. But the other thing they always do with your coffee is just give you a nice little sprinkle of some cocoa powder. So let's just finish that one off. That is just looking so good. When a soap just comes together as you envisaged it, that is just the best. Alright, I'm going to bring you down for a closer look. Okay, so here it is up close. I am thinking I'm going to be calling this one a caramel latte. That brown sugar really does give it that sort of caramel sort of aroma to it. It smells really good. Often I find with coffee fragrances they smell real chemical like, but this one is smelling pretty good, very much like coffee. I am going to leave this one sit overnight, then we're going to come back in just a moment and we are going to see what it looks like on the inside. I finally get to cut into this. I am so excited about doing so. I got home from the Sunday markets and I had this sort of thing in my head that I wanted to go and get round to IKEA and go and finally redo the front of my workshop. If you've been following along with me on Instagram, you would have seen some posts where I actually showed what I'd been up to. But on Sunday, that meant I got home from markets, we went straight out to IKEA, so I didn't have to do it during the week. And then this morning, which is Monday, I have been busy putting together all of my IKEA shelves, redoing the front section. And my reward is I get to go and cut this soap. So let's get through this one. It's still a little bit soft here, so that must have been because the fragrance oil was pretty well behaved. We are through. Let's take a look and see if we've got a challenge soap. Alright, so let's take a look at the inside of this one. And that is it. I am in love with it. I know I say that about a majority of my soaps, but I am completely and utterly stoked with it. I changed my mind over the weekend. I am actually going to be calling this one an iced caramel latte, and I am definitely entering this one into the challenge. So you can see we've got our very distinct layers, and then that drop swirl through there, which just looks like that caramel is oozing on down into the coffee. You can see through these two layers in here, we've got that in the pot swirl, which is part of that extra element that I was doing, and we've got that sort of uneven edge of the coffee, kind of like as you create layers through that iced coffee. That is the top of our bar there. I am so in love with this one. This one is going to darken up. I can see that there is a very dark ring right around the edge of the soap here, so that is going to darken up my colors a little bit, but I'm really not bothered because it is a coffee soap, so it should be quite dark. But I am loving those drops in the top. It just screams a nice iced caramel latte in there. I am really, really happy with it. I think I've done the last 3 soap challenge clubs. This is the 3rd one. I paid for the 3 months worth, and I think of all the soaps I've actually made as a part of that challenge, I think this one would have to be my absolute favorite. It has come together exactly as I thought it was going to come together. I am so pleased. I love how this cream has actually just dipped right down, so it really gives that effect that this cream, or this white round there, is the cream just oozing on down into this drink. I am really, really pleased. I hope you have enjoyed watching how I have made my iced caramel latte soap challenge club soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.